Hello, well this is a help video for the Unit 5 Lesson 1 quick check, and I picked out two problems, number 2 and number 3. The first thing I want to draw your attention to, again, remember before you're doing any work in any of the classes lessons really, make sure that you're going to your message board. So if you go to your message board and click on the particular lesson you're working on, one of the things you want to make sure you're using on top of the notes and the videos is your formula sheet. So you can have this all the time. You're going to notice this is really the first unit where there are quite a lot of formulas. So make sure you have this out next to you, printed out, so that you're referencing it, okay? And then for Unit 5, Lesson 1, where you're looking is right here for the quadratic function. So it explains all of the translations. This is a parent function. If you want to reflect over the x-axis, what you have to do, stretch or shrink, translations, horizontal or vertical. So it has all of the formulas here for you to follow. So this is a translation question for number 2. I have my original function. Okay, and at this point you might have memorized what that graph looks like. If not, that's no big deal. You have your calculator here to go ahead and pop it in the graph so you know what that looks like. Now they want to translate that function, and this is the formula they give you. Okay, so again, you can use that formula sheet to kind of compare them. Let's see if I can get these on the same page. Maybe not. Okay, so we're looking at the translation. If I want to go horizontal by h, you have to add that number here, and if it's going to go up or down, it's the number right here. So this number is going to be my up-down, and this number is going to be my left-right, okay? And again, you have your graphing calculator, so even if you didn't memorize the patterns, and you forgot to look at your formula sheet, or you don't know how to read what the formula sheet is saying, you still have a third option to go ahead and graph it. So I'm going to type this in. And then observe how the graph has changed. So in dark, I have my original. The new graph has moved up. So this is confirming that the positive 3 is going to move it up 3. And then it moved to the right. So having the x minus 1 has moved it to the right 1. All right. Let's take a look at number 3. Identify the vertex and the axis of symmetry for y equals 3x plus 2 squared minus 3. And I'm going to go to my formula sheet again and line it up with what your original formula should be for the quadratic equation. So we have y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. So I'll write that right underneath it. Okay, now it's supposed to be let's put the basic one. Okay, so the A is how much this graph is going to stretch or shrink. So whether it's going to go wider or skinnier. This number and these numbers here, H and K, match up to where your vertex is. All right? So my vertex is going to be 2, 3, and then I need to pay attention to the signs. So in the general formula, it's a positive, but here I see a negative. So if I'm going to rewrite this so that they match up, A was 3, x minus, this minus is part of the formula. So how did it go from a minus to a plus 2? Our h must have been negative. And then same here. The formula is supposed to have a positive. How did it get negative? K must have been a negative 3. Okay, so we have to do a little bit of backwards thinking on our signs. So just pay attention. In the general formula, it should be minus h plus k. So you can use that to figure out what h and k actually are. So here's your x, and here's your y. So there's the vertex. Okay. Now the axis of symmetry, so when I graph this, our vertex -2, -3, the axis of symmetry is going to be right through that vertex. Okay, and so the equation for that line, it's a vertical line, so its equation is going to be x equals whatever your x is. Okay, and again, you have your calculator, so you can always graph these equations as well. All right, and take a look at them. Plugged in a +3 instead of a -3. There we go. And then if you wanted to find the vertex, you can look at the table. And for this one, I'm looking for, the vertex is always going to be your maximum or your minimum. So if you're looking at your table and you want to know what your vertex is, let's turn the first equation off. Okay, if I want to know what the vertex is, notice these numbers just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So I'm looking for the minimum, where it gets lowest and then starts going back up. So when I look here, notice it went 24, 9, 0. It hit -3. That was the bottom. And then it started going back up again, 0, 9, 24. So this also tells me my vertex is at -2, -3. Or when you're at the graph, you can hit the trace button and move your mouse down. -2, -3. So there's a lot of different ways to find the vertex. You can match it up with your general vertex form. And you're looking for this number and this number. Just make sure you pay attention to the signs. Or you can graph it and take a look at your table and look for that bottom point or that max. Or you can graph it and hit trace and follow the mouse down. You just know that you have to round these a little bit. And if you have multiple choice, it's easy to kind of match those to what you're looking for, okay?